everybody. Welcome to Wealth Edit Wednesday. This is the second month that we've done our new format, which is an evening format. So we hope that it leaves plenty of time for conversation. And we're just so grateful today to have the team from Subtle Impacts. It's a mother-daughter powerhouse team, Jenny and Rachel. And so with that, we love for you to just start and share your story.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Rachel. I'm the daughter of the mother-daughter duo. Jenny is my mom's name. So we were just talking about that. It'll be 8 years this coming May, right? That my dad, her husband, passed away, and that was from a frontal temporal dementia. And yeah, so he started a welding manufacturing business, and when he passed away, you ended up taking it over. And then, I did my thing. I went to college and then I came back. I worked at a school district. And then I was deciding to make a career path change, looking for something new. I was interviewing somewhere else. And then you ended up.
I said, no,
hey, why don't you come work here? So I was like, yeah, that could be fun. It's close to home for me. And yeah. So working at the shop, we're predominantly like a service base. We do a lot of products for other manufacturers around the US. And I wanted to come up with something that we could have as a product line ourselves. And so I was just looking around my house, like, okay, what's made out of metal? Like, what could we potentially make? And I saw my ugly dumbbells on the ground and I was like, well, maybe we can make weights. And then I was like, well, what can we do different? And then, yeah, bingo, make them decorative. So yeah. And then I think I talked to you about it.
In a very weak moment, she caught me. Doodled. You had doodled on the paper, your different designs. And so what do you think? And I'm like, yeah.
So, and then the journey began. Huh?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, what were you manufacturing before were you still, did you decide, was this like a new product line or were you like starting over all together?
Yeah, this was a new product line on top of what we're currently doing
a new
now.
Business, like a separate. Created an LLC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So total startup.
Right. Yeah. So Steffensmeier Welding Manufacturing is this, and then we've got Subtle Impacts.
Right. So what has actually happened is we're not making the product at the welding company because it's
not cost effective.
Right.
So we're using a foundry still in the US, still in Iowa, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then we're going to be bringing the coating in-house here in the next couple months. So
okay.
Yeah. Well, I love it because I was like lugging around. We're having some painting done, and I was lugging my kettlebell around my house, and I was thinking, this thing is so ugly. And I was so grateful that we were going to have our talk today. And like your story about how y'all have done that, and then also what it's like to work with your mom.
Yeah. So maybe I think what she is saying is, what is it like? I guess maybe we can start off with like, what is it like to be in that business, in the manufacturing business, in the welding business as a mother-daughter team? I don't imagine you see very many of those teams in that industry.
Yeah, it's definitely a predominantly male-dominated industry. So that in itself, I would say it has its dynamics.
Yeah.
For sure. As far as working with my mom though, I don't know. I feel like we're just yin and yang, like we just complement each other very well. We think very similar, probably because you raised me and stuff, but
but thank God she is not me. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I can tell you the biggest thing for me that Rachel has brought to the table is because my children have participated in the loss of their father and anxiety and all the emotional drama that I created in the long goodbye of their dad from us, from our family unit, and from the business. And so there was a lot of difficulties at the business. You know, Ben's had a couple brothers there, guys that were in our wedding, our employees there, and it was tumultuous. So in the effort to change a culture, it wasn't aligning with the people that had been there a long time. And so Rachel was actually there for some of the individuals that I brought on to, you know, quote unquote, run the business. And she was experiencing things that weren't aligning with what we were trying to do. And so Rachel is the person now. And what it's done for me is I just 100% trust her. You know, like she talks about how we think alike, and there's really nothing special to say about that. As a matter of fact, prior to the call, I was saying, I think that we're just common sense and use a lot of common sense. But the trust is huge, huge. And Emily and Lauren, I commend you for what you guys are doing, because it doesn't happen without the trust.
And I do think it makes it a lot easier for us to communicate. Like we don't have that, like we just say our opinions on things and really like communicate well and see each other's perspective, but we don't get butthurt about disagreements.
Yes, I think, Lauren, you may be able to appreciate this. Something that I have noticed, and it drives me crazy, but when I walk in the room, it's just different with employees. I was a sonographer. That was my career prior to this. And, you know, I was just a colleague with my other colleagues. Like we were all on the same plane. And just because I have this damn title of president or owner, it just, it changes everything. And I don't have that with Rachel. She will tell me, Mom, where employees won't tell me, you know, they'll just, and so that is huge. And one of Rachel's brothers works with us also. And yeah, they don't hold back from telling their mom. And I need that. It's lonely. That phrase, it's lonely at the top. Well, that's part of why, because people don't tell you things that you should probably know. Like, so that's been really super helpful for me.
Well, I love that. And I love
Jenny, that's a great,
sorry, we've got a weird lag, but you know, when you're talking about culture too, I mean, that's one thing that we have really spent a lot of time talking about and learning about. You know, I practiced law for 15 years, and Jenny, I was a lot like you in the sense that I was an associate, or, you know, as we worked our way up through first year associate, second year associate, you know, all the way up to then, you know, people making partner, but it was like lockstep, you know, along the way. And so I didn't ever feel that like level of authority, you know, it just wasn't a part of like our culture in that sense. And so then here, you know, as we like think through like who we are as a team, it's so important. And I think oftentimes people don't take the time to figure that out from the beginning, but you know, it is rocky, but I do think Lauren and I we feel comfortable telling each other the truth about like what we're thinking, and you know, Rachel, you said like not getting our feelings hurt. In fact, we had a funny experience, and Lauren put this on Instagram. Well, I can't remember what I was on, maybe TikTok or something. I'm not good at social media at all. I just feel awkward and weird, and it's just, I just like look stiff and annoying or something. I don't know. But anyway, so she's like, people are loving your comments about this. But I said, Lauren and I were having a conversation about compensation, and we were just trying to figure out, because we're a growing business, and like, how do you handle this? And like, what do we want to do about that? And we were not like upset with one another, but we were just like throwing out ideas, and me saying, no, that's not going to work, you know, back and forth. Well, my daughter was in the room, and she was like, Mom, that was so uncomfortable. And I said, you know what? I saw you sitting there, and I like purposefully like kept talking about it in front of you, because I think it's so important that you hear these types of conversations from the beginning. And it's like, even in my family, having an open and honest culture where you can talk about something, disagree about something, but then also know that ultimately we all love one another. We're after the same goal, you know, but also as women, you know, like having conversations about money and compensation and, you know, business, you know, questions and how are you going to handle this situation? You know, I don't know. It's just neat to watch that modeled. I have a feeling you've done that in your life.
And I do think that is the gift of family or friends that are like family, or, you know, that trust that you mentioned. It's just the foundation in which everything has to sit, because otherwise, and like it's restful as the business owner to have people that you trust like that, you know, won't get their feelings hurt like you're talking about. And I think family is such a good foundation for that, because, you know, who do you trust more than your family? So it's nice to hear that. And I think that is what good partnerships are really built on. And so anyway, but you're right about the loneliness too, Jenny. I know I felt that for a really long time, because I did build by myself before Emily and I partnered, and it was just really lonely. And you just hate that, because, you know, there's so much to be gained from being in dialogue with, you know, someone that you trust that's going for the same goal. So anyway, what do you think has been go ahead, Jenny.
Well, I was just going to say, I think as human beings, we're all seeking validation. And it's like my Alzheimer's support groups I would go to. It's the validation thing. So when you have Emily and Emily has you, I have Rachel. Sometimes you just want to say how you're feeling and not be judged and
just be understood.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Jenny, tell me, because it was a choice to keep the welding business, like to keep it going. That was a really interesting and brave choice. Like, how did you come to that decision?
I really didn't. I just, you know, woke up every day and like, this is just what I have to do.
You had started working there when Dad was getting, getting sick. So you were like,
okay.
Prior to him even being sick, you know, with 5 kids, I think after Sarah was born, after the 3rd kid, Ben said, do you want to come in and help Carla, the loan secretary? She's really busy. I said, yes. And then I would get pregnant again. And then I went away and then I came back and okay, 5, we're not having any more. So they built me a desk and I worked with Carla and she taught me how to buy and sell steel. Thank goodness all that happened. But, I did, you know, through the culture change and tumultuous times of family, friends, employees resisting that there was anything wrong with Ben. You know, I can look back now, they wouldn't see the things that the kids and I were seeing because they weren't with him all the time. So it's like, I didn't know how to sell the business because there were days I'm like, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm selling this. Well, you know, it's not quite like selling your car. So I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. So, okay, I guess I won't, and I'll just figure it out. So
keep going.
Keep going.
I don't know how that was in like the most, oh, wow. Like us kids were in like the busiest, all of us were 3-4 sport athletes and in band and like doing all the stuff and like, I know.
It was really crazy. It was crazy times, but I don't know. We're all better people because of it. Guaranteed. We are really better people, and we're close. The kids are you guys are very close, and we just
good word.
Keep them back, but it is what it is.
Well, I think as I reflect on, I have an 18-year-old, which I think that's how old you were, Rachel, when your dad died. You know, I think about that phase we were talking about her leaving, and, you know, just the emotion that's tied up in that with any parent, with both of them alive or not. But, you know, you have the child that's going off, but like we were talking about how, you know, it's just been like the three of us, or, you know, that family unit that survives something like that. And there's just a bond that's there. That's different than your other families. And, you know, many families have shared experiences that bring them together, but there's just something about, you know, that unit that like survives and comes out on the other side of it that is just really, really strong. And I mean, do you feel like, I know I can say I've seen this in my own life, but surviving something like that, especially you, Rachel, like having been young and now kind of growing up and like deciding to step into this new role from, you know, being in the school system to like, yes, I'm going to just go into the welding business. Like, do you feel like that gave you the extra ounce of like confidence that you needed to do that?
Going through what,
like having gone through, like watching your mom do what she did, y'all pulling together and like surviving something really hard like that.
Yeah, for sure. It has, I mean, watching, I'll get emotional now. Watching you continue to overcome thing after thing. And then you're talking about the employees when the culture wasn't so great there. And even like now in today's, I'm like, oh, our culture is really good. And there's still some days where it's like, man, I just have beyond respect for you and Dad. But I mean, and also, you've given me a lot of confidence with, it's a man's world. So, and men can be arrogant at times. Humans can be arrogant, but so being a woman in a man's world, there's definitely times where I have felt that they're trying to take advantage of me in the situation. And you having your backbone has given me my backbone of no, like, I mean, I'm still going to be respectful, but you're not going to walk all over me.
Well, I'm curious, Emily, you mentioned identity before we got on the call. I think you asked a question about identity. Maybe you have been asked if the loss of your husband has that identified you? Yeah. And I think that me personally and all of us as a family unit, I don't know, I'm not sure what I want to say about identity, but yes,
it's a part of, I mean, it has made me who I am now. So, and I'm sure you can say the same, like, I would not be who I am without that. Was it great to live through it? No, but I am grateful for who I've become because of it.
Well, I guess I will say this, and I listened to our President George W. Bush last week speak about leadership and leaders who are victims. Emily, I don't know if you did this, but I definitely went through, and mine was long, I'll admit it. It was like 10 years of my identity was victim. Like, poor me, everybody's blah, 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 blah. But I created all that. And so it's been really wonderful to say goodbye to that. And so I'm very mindful and careful, you know, when we talk about, you know, women and women in business, there's a line, and I don't want to cross the line that, you know, we're victims or something. Like, we're not, we just, but at the same time, there's something about we need to stand together. Like, we're different, and it doesn't make us better or worse than men, and men aren't better or worse, and nobody's, you know, wrong and right. It's not that, but it is, what's the book? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We're different. So, and I think women play a role. Absolutely, women play a role in our national economy and leadership around the world. I mean, it's incredible what women are doing. When you think back in just 1970, 1971, women couldn't be in the workplace pregnant. I can't wrap my head around that. They were sent home in 1970. Like that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So, still paving the way. We're still, and it's all good. So it's important. I guess it is important for us as leaders in our organizations to have confidence, and we have a very compassionate confidence. And I think that may be something lacking in our male counterparts because they tend to be less vulnerable with their feelings. And I think vulnerability is super important. And that goes back to, Emily and Lauren being able to be vulnerable and express, hey, Lauren, we're able to do that. Rachel. It's usually the other way. She's saying, Mom.
That's right.
Well, I love what you said about compassionate, kindness and like leadership. I do think, and Lauren and I say this, is very much like what we built the Wealth That It on, is that women learn so much better in community, like in having those conversations and hearing other people's stories. It's why we started Wealth That It Wednesdays, is because we think women learn better when they hear the stories of other women who've gone before them. And you do see, though, it's like hearing those stories, and something that I just want to point out for those that are listening is like, so often as women, whether it be that we've lost a spouse or gone through divorce or lost a job or had a spouse lose a job, or, all the things that, women have happened to them, it's like you feel like it's going to take you over, like you're not going to be able to survive it. And, it's like, it's hard to push through that feeling of being a victim. It's there for all of us, I imagine, at some point in our lives, and men too, but like to like push through that, and then really find like the like how much confidence you get when you've pushed through that other side and you've put yourself outside that comfort zone, and all of a sudden you realize like, okay, if I was capable of that.
And
it's like, for me, that's like always that's what we want from the Wealth That It Wednesdays, is that women be like, well, she could do that. And like, we have that in common, or, I've been through something similar, or, and then all of a sudden you're like, just giving somebody that little bitty push to say, it's okay to step outside of that safe place of feeling like a victim. And it's like, not only that, it's going to open up your whole world, because you're going to see things differerently. You can have the ability to be a leader when you didn't think that you could be. You can change careers. You can take over your husband's business. It's very inspiring. So thank you for putting words.
And be a great role model for your daughter. That's awesome to see. That's what I hope for my girls. Like, I hope that they see Emily and I working hard, and they feel that too, like, I don't know, it just is so important, and it's so special. So
you guys, here's another thing for your listeners. We haven't talked about this, but like family succession planning, there's that whole piece. But think about, we are mothers, and we want our kids we want to protect them, and we don't want them to fail and all that stuff. You guys, this just happened yesterday. Rachel made a business decision. This is something else I'm loving about her. She just takes it and owns it. She's not scared. I'm a chicken shit, but Rachel made a decision. And I said to myself, this is where this is what I did as a mother personally at home. They have to figure it out. The kids will figure it out. So instead of criticizing her, I probably did a little bit, but then I said, your response was great to the situation. And it was support. Like, as a mother, we're supporting our kids, but in the business now in this business relationship, as leaders, it's important to recognize whether we are criticizing, supporting, like what is our role? Everybody has our roles, but I think as leaders, and I wasn't doing that for 10 years when I was playing victim mode. So super important to recognize what we're doing.
Lauren, this is reminding
and
me.
We always say, I mean,
we were talking to another widow not too long ago who had taken over her husband's business, and she was really struggling with the role, you know, like it just feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural. But Lauren and I look at her and you're like, you are so talented. Like you are actually really
so
good
talented
at this, and you are doing an amazing job. You just have to step into that role.
Like, I think I really liked what you said about you can do literally whatever you want to do, even if you're not perfect at it right away. And if you want to change your career, if you want to do this, you can. And I think a lot of times women, they see other women already past that point of where they've made their change and they've become successful, however you define that, whatever, but they don't get to see all that. And you mentioned, so I am also divorced. I left an abusive relationship, and there's no way, knowing that you did it on your own with 5 kids, I was like, you know, in those scary moments of like, can I do this? You know, financially, emotionally, whatever. Hell yeah, she did. I can do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, I just really
that's extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I am so glad that I'm so glad that you were brave enough to leave, you know, and that you had, I think too, like having a support system that, you know, will be there for you, you know, no matter what. That is, I think that as women, we're kind of taught to play it really, really safe. And like we always say, like, and this is different than the story that you just shared, Rachel, but like it brought me back to something that you said about like people, you know, like making their own decisions in business. One thing in our culture at Somerset and at the Wealth Edit is we're like, you never get in trouble for trying something and it not working out. Like that is seen as a win because those things happen all the time in business, you know? And I think if there was more of a culture shift to like celebrating trying something, you know, like seeing if it works. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think we get really scared of things not working out where like things don't work out all the time, you know, and it's like just kind of celebrating those things that happens all the time. And I think that that's what holds us maybe back in some ways from like really pushing over that edge to what you were talking about, like what's success. To me, that's what success looks like, is like trying, stuff don't work out, you get right back up and you try it again, you know? I mean, that to me is extremely special. So
well, guys, I feel like I could talk to y'all for another couple of hours. I might have to make a trip to the Midwest.
We're gonna do that.
I told him I'd never been to, is it Iowa? I was like, Iowa. I'm like, I gotta go. But I do want to just take a second and let you tell everybody about Subtle Impacts and like how people can find them. And I saw that they're on Amazon. They're just so cool. I just love everything about them. And I don't live in a big house, but I like everything to kind of have its place. So that kind of thing really speaks to me.
Yeah. So, and for smaller spaces too, because
that's what I mean. Yes.
You don't have a lot of,
it's perfect.
So, we're on all the things, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I am making YouTube videos to follow along with me to do workouts and that kind of thing.
She kills me if she asks me to do a workout. Oh my God.
Well, you can do like arms. I can't.
That's true. She is pretty wimpy there.
yeah, you can find us there. Yeah.
Rachel, talk a little bit about some of the other things you're offering besides the weights.
Yeah, I'm gonna start offering a activewear line. And then we're looking at just like wall art prints. I want to do like empowering. Yeah. So I want Subtle Impacts to be all about enhancing your health and home. So when you come to the platform, that's what it's about.
And I'm excited for the line of, we're gonna, well, stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're gonna, stay tuned.
We can't wait.
Well, we cannot wait to follow along. And, you know, I share this story a lot, but you know, we had an event here in Birmingham that was in person, and it was at the store, and the owner of the store shared her story. And I had like 3 or 4 people come up to me afterwards and be like, I just loved hearing more about like how they ended up here and like came up with the idea for the store. I was like, I'm going to shop here all the time. And, you know, you think about like how, to me now, I see Subtle Impacts, like knowing your story, knowing like why you're doing what you're doing, like how y'all work together as a team. It's just so encouraging and something that I love now, knowing the story behind the brand. And so thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for being so vulnerable, both of y'all. That
thank you very much.
You know, I can relate to so much. And Rachel, I have to say, it's such encouragement to hear that daughters see their moms working hard. And Jenny, thank you for being such a good role model. I just love hearing everything about y'all. So cannot wait to connect again.
Yes.
So thank y'all for being here.
Thank
you.